Rome had defeated everyone, every army, every king, every empire that dared to stand against them. They had crushed Carthage, conquered Egypt, broken the Macedonian phalanx that had once terrified the entire ancient world. Rome did not lose, but on one night, on a road outside the city, something appeared that no Roman general had ever planned for. No shield could stop it, no sword could cut it, no army could slow it down. A figure on a burning horse, a skull wrapped in hellfire, moving through the darkness toward the greatest city on earth. And Rome had absolutely no idea what was coming. To understand why Ghost Rider in Rome would be the most catastrophic event in ancient history, you need to understand what Rome actually was. Not the Rome from movies, not marble statues and toga parties. The real Rome. At its peak, around 100 AD under Emperor Trajan, Rome controlled 5 million square kilometers of territory, from Scotland to the Sahara, from Portugal to the edge of Persia. 70 million people living under a single flag. The Roman army was the most sophisticated killing machine the ancient world had ever produced. A single Roman legion, just one, contained 5,000 to 6,000 professional soldiers. Men who trained every single day, who could march 20th miles in full armor and then immediately build a fortified camp before sleeping, who had been fighting since they were teenagers. Rome had 30 of these legions active at any given time. That's roughly 180,000 of the most disciplined, experienced, ruthless soldiers in human history. And then Ghost Rider showed up. Now, let's establish the rules. Because this matters. Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, is not just a man on a fire motorcycle. He is the spirit of vengeance. A supernatural entity bound to a human host, empowered by hell itself. His hellfire cannot be extinguished by water, sand, or any physical substance. It burns at temperatures that melt steel. His chain, the penance stare, can look into the soul of any living being and force them to experience every ounce of pain they have ever caused another person. Simultaneously, all at once, he has survived direct nuclear blasts. He has fought gods. He has been dismembered and reassembled. He cannot be killed by any conventional weapon. Now drop that into 100 AD Rome. The first encounter would happen on the Via Appia, the Appian Way, the greatest road in the ancient world, stretching 350 miles from Rome to the southern tip of Italy. Stone-paved, arrow-straight, lined on both sides with the tombs of Rome's greatest families. A routine patrol, 8 soldiers, veterans of campaigns in Dacia and Germania. They hear it first, a sound like nothing in the natural world, the roar of an engine that doesn't exist yet. A mechanical thunder that makes the horses panic and rear and throw their riders before the men even see what's coming. Then the light, orange and white and impossibly bright. Moving at a speed no horse could match. No chariot could match. And then it stops, right in front of them. A figure, human-shaped. But the head is a skull, wrapped in fire that doesn't go out. That doesn't flicker. That burns steady and hot and wrong in a way these soldiers' brains genuinely cannot process. The patrol leader, a man who had faced Germanic berserkers screaming through frozen forests, who had watched elephants charge his formation in North Africa, does the only logical thing. He orders the attack. 8 pilum javelins fly simultaneously. The heavy Roman throwing spear, designed to punch through shields and bend on impact so the enemy can't throw it back. They pass through Ghost Rider like he isn't there. Or rather, they hit him and nothing happens. The metal doesn't bend. The fire doesn't care. He turns his skull toward the patrol leader, and the penance stare begins. Now here's where it gets genuinely horrifying. The penance stare forces its victim to feel every moment of suffering they have ever caused another person. Every wound inflicted, every life taken, every family destroyed. A Roman soldier who had served in Dacia, where Rome killed or enslaved an estimated 500,000 people in 2 campaigns, would have an essentially infinite reservoir of pain to experience. The patrol leader screams, falls from his horse, curls into a ball on the stone road, and doesn't move. 7 soldiers watch their commander, a man they have seen fearless for 15 years, collapse into a catatonic state from a single glance. They run. They run back to Rome, back to the Praetorian barracks, and they tell everyone exactly what they saw. Now the Roman response machine activates. And this is where Rome becomes genuinely fascinating. Because Rome's reaction to Ghost Rider would not be panic. Not immediately. Rome had seen strange things before. They had fought druids in Britain who convinced their warriors they couldn't be harmed. They had encountered Zoroastrian fire priests in Persia who performed rituals that terrified uneducated soldiers. They had documented encounters with what they called portents, supernatural omens, their entire history. Rome's response to the unknown was always the same. Classify it, study it, find its weakness, destroy it. Emperor Trajan, arguably the greatest military mind Rome ever produced, would convene an emergency session of the Senate within 24 hours of the first reports reaching the city. He would not say, "This is a demon. We cannot fight it." He would say, "This is a problem. What do we know? What have we tried? What haven't we tried yet?" The first Roman strategy would be overwhelming numbers. If 8 soldiers failed, send 800, a full cohort, 480 heavy infantry, shields locked, formation tight, the testudo, the tortoise formation, where soldiers interlock shields above and around them, creating a walking fortress of steel, plus 2 centuries of archers, plus a battery of ballistae, the Roman artillery, giant crossbows capable of firing bolts that could pin a man to a wall at 200 meters. They deploy on the Via Appia at dawn. Ghost Rider comes at night. The ballistae fire first. Bolts the size of small trees hit Ghost Rider and shatter. The Hellfire absorbs the impact. The archers loose, simultaneously, 200 arrows in the air at once, a sound like a wave breaking. They bounce off the flame like rain off stone. The cohort advances in testudo. Locked shields, disciplined, terrified, but moving forward because Roman soldiers move forward. That is what they do. That is what they have always done. Ghost Rider rides directly into the formation. The Hellfire doesn't just burn on contact. It spreads, shield to shield. The wooden cores of Roman shields, even iron-rimmed, are still wood underneath. They catch. The formation breaks. Men drop their burning shields and scatter. Ghost Rider moves through them like a wave. The pennant stare takes down anyone who meets his eyes directly. In 4 minutes, a cohort of Rome's finest soldiers is broken, burning, or catatonic on the road. Rome tries everything. They try isolating him with trenches filled with water. The Hellfire evaporates the water before the trench is even fully dug. They try attacking from behind. Ghost Rider apparently has eyes everywhere. They try attacking during daylight. He is slightly less active, but still functionally unstoppable. They consult the Pontifex Maximus, Rome's chief priest. He orders sacrifices to every god in the Roman pantheon. Jupiter, Mars, Pluto. Every temple in the city is busy for 3 days straight. Nothing changes. They send for specialists. Eastern sorcerers from Egypt, Jewish exorcists from Judea, Persian magi who claim knowledge of supernatural fire, a Greek philosopher from Alexandria who has written extensively on demonic entities. The Greek philosopher takes one look at the situation and immediately leaves Rome on the fastest ship available. Smart man. Here is where it gets psychologically interesting. Because Ghost Rider doesn't want to destroy Rome. He wants the guilty. The spirit of vengeance has a specific target. A specific soul that has committed an act so evil that hell itself has dispatched its rider to collect payment. The problem is, in Rome in 100 AD, almost everyone is guilty of something. Slave owners, va criminals, corrupt officials, senators who had ordered massacres, generals who had burned villages, emperors who had executed innocents. Ghost Rider isn't trying to conquer Rome. He's working his way through a list. And the list in Rome is very, very long. The Roman people themselves begin to fracture. The plebs, the common people, start to notice something. Ghost Rider isn't touching them. He rides through the Suburra, Rome's most dangerous, poorest slum district, and doesn't harm a single person there. He goes directly to the Palatine Hill, where the wealthy live. where the powerful sleep behind walls and guards and locked gates. Word spreads through the city within days. The poor start calling him something, a name that will echo through Roman history. They call him Vindex, the Avenger. The Senate is terrified, not just of Ghost Rider, of what their own population is starting to think. Trajan makes the decision that only the greatest Roman emperors could make. He stops trying to destroy Ghost Rider. He tries to negotiate. Trajan walks out, alone, no guard, no armor, onto the Via Sacra, the sacred road through the heart of Rome, in the middle of the night. And he waits. Ghost Rider comes, and Trajan does something no one has done since the supernatural entity arrived in his city. He doesn't attack. He doesn't run. He doesn't look away or cover his eyes. He speaks. I know you have a purpose here. Complete it, but spare my city. My soldiers were following orders. The guilty ones, I will bring them to you myself. What happens next? Historians would debate for centuries if anyone believed the story at all. Ghost Rider looks at Trajan with a penitent stare and finds almost nothing, because Trajan, by the standards of Roman emperors, was genuinely one of the most just rulers in the ancient world. The Senate would later call him Optimus Princeps, the best emperor. He fed the poor. He built infrastructure. He treated prisoners of war with unusual humanity. The penitent stare finds guilt, but not enough. Not the kind that summons the spirit of vengeance. Ghost Rider steps back, and Trajan, shaking but standing, keeps his word. What follows is the strangest week in Roman history. Trajan personally escorts Ghost Rider through the city. The Emperor of Rome, walking alongside the spirit of vengeance, pointing out the guilty. A general who massacred a surrendered village in Dacia. A slave trader whose cruelty was legendary even by Roman standards. 3 senators whose corruption had caused a grain shortage that starved thousands. One by one, the penitents stare, catatonic, destroyed from within by their own accumulated cruelty. Homewatch, and Rome learns something that changes the city for a generation. That there is something in the universe that cannot be bought, cannot be bribed, cannot be conquered or negotiated away or outrun. Something that remembers every terrible thing you have ever done and comes to collect. Ghost Rider leaves Rome on the 7th night, rides south on the Via Appia, into the darkness, the sound of the engine fading until there's only the wind and the torches on the road and the faint smell of something burning. He doesn't come back, but Rome is different after. For 2 generations, approximately 50 years, Roman historians note something unusual. A marked decline in recorded atrocities. Fewer mass executions. More humane treatment of slaves in certain provinces. Senators who were previously known for casual cruelty suddenly becoming conspicuous in their restraint. Nobody talks about why directly. You don't write because we're afraid of the skull on the burning horse in an official Senate record. But everyone knows. Everyone remembers the week that something walked through Rome and looked into their souls and found them wanting. Here's the thing about power. Rome built the greatest empire in the ancient world through absolute, overwhelming force. They conquered because no one could stop them. No army, no wall, no geography. Ghost Rider didn't beat Rome with a bigger army. He beat them with something Rome had no defense against. Conscience, the most powerful empire on earth, brought to its knees not by a sword or a siege engine, but by the simple, terrible act of being forced to see itself clearly. Every atrocity, every cruelty, every decision made in the dark that someone told themselves didn't matter. It all mattered. The spirit of vengeance doesn't need an army. It just needs the truth. And here's what I want you to think about. Trajan walked out alone to face something that had broken entire cohorts of soldiers. Not because he wasn't afraid. He was terrified, but because he understood something the generals didn't. You cannot fight a force that feeds on violence with more violence. Sometimes the only way through is to stop. Stand still and let it look at you. Could you do that? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to see what happens when Ghost Rider rides into the Battle of Thermopylae, facing 300,000 Persian soldiers and a king who thought he was a god,